Good evening, everyone. This is John from the Five Cats Observatory, and it's looking like a nice evening tonight, as you can see with the camera inside the observatory. It's a lovely dark sky. The stars are just starting to show themselves. You can see a couple on the screen there. So tonight, fingers crossed, we can do a bit of astrophotography. Now, I was planning to do a bit more on the Whirlpool galaxy M51. I imaged that last week and I got 3 nights on it and managed to get 14 hours of really good data. So I was planning to maybe get some more colour data tonight. I've got loads of luminance, but I think the image, I did process it at the weekend, but it looks like it could maybe do a bit more sort of star colour and whatnot. Nice as it is. So I was thinking of maybe doing some red and blue data tonight. I can't be up too late because I'm up early tomorrow for work. But after tomorrow I've got 4 days off and it's supposed to be really nice weather again. So I could stay up like all night for the next few nights after tonight. In fact, let's just see where M51 is now. Southeast. Zoom in a little bit. Right. What we need to do is an autofocus first. So we'll get to a bit of the sky. We're not far away from it there actually. Let's start another autofocus. Let's see if it can do any better than that. Generally it usually comes up either a 1 or a 0.99 or maybe a 0.98, but the last couple of points on the graph there were way out and it really threw the curve, I think. It's a lovely clear sky, there is no wind. The seeing conditions look amazing, so there's no reason for it not to give a good focus. So we'll give it another wee minute again. It should go quicker this time. I've just reduced it down to 1 exposure per point rather than 2. See if this will do any better. Yep, certainly looks a lot better. 5027. It's moved 10 points and it's given a R² threshold of 1.00, the best it can possibly be. That's a bit better. Okay, do absolute and centre again. Those cats are making some noise on the roof tonight. Right, we're all good for the direction it's pointing in. If this comes up, once it will come up okay. Once it's centred, we'll start the guiding and then we shall start the imaging. And I've got it set for 2 hours an hour. That'll take me up to 11:30, which will be quite good. Yep, it was just off to the left the last time. That looks exactly the same place. Okay. We'll let the guidance settle for a wee minute. and then get onto the sequence. The camera is still cooling. It's taken quite a while tonight actually. It was really warm outside though. It's only down to minus 2.10. I've got it set to minus 10 degrees. But yeah, it's so warm out there tonight. It's been taking a while to cool down. The first frame won't matter too much, I suppose. The sequence is all set up. I've got it on red and blue. Everything else is fine. I've got green and luminance turned off the now. Guidance seems reasonably okay. Let's just start our first sequence. Start our first image to come through. I didn't bother with polar alignment. I've done a polar alignment a couple of times since I was out last, and I've got it pretty much bang on. And then I checked it the second last time I was out, and it was exactly the same place. Since the scope's mounted on a permanent pier in the observatory, and it really doesn't get touched at all. The only sort of physical touching it gets is me putting the dust cover back on and taking it back off, and then that is about it really. Hardly a finger gets put on it, and it's absolutely rock solid on its concrete pier, so I don't really have to do a polar alignment that much. I do tend to check it every now and again, just because things will move, I suppose, over time. But yeah, it was pretty much bang on the last time I was out and I checked it. The guiding tends to go up and down a little bit. I think it depends what position I'm in the sky. And to be honest, I've not done a calibration. I'm meant to do another PhD calibration, but I was just using the last one since the last time I was out on this target. The guiding was pretty good, so I just left it all the same. Yep, all the parameters are the same. All looks fine now. I completely forgot that I had the camera to cool down on the sequencer. I could have just stopped it. But here we go. As soon as the camera cools to minus 10 degrees Celsius, it will start the sequence. I could have paused it and reset it and taken it off, but I thought, we'll just wait till the camera cools down for the sake of an extra few minutes. Really, I should have just had the camera cooling earlier, but something that I keep forgetting to do to the last minute, and it just keeps holding me up. Camera is cooled. We should be on red filter. Yes, we are, and that's it starting to take the first exposure now. The guidance still not too bad. 0.90. To be honest, if it's anything under 1, it's pretty good for my setup. Yep, not too bad. Temperature outside 6.25 degrees. Quite mild tonight. It is the start of April, I suppose. And we've had a good wee run of hot weather during the day, and it's still to continue all week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the forecast's right, and we do actually get clear skies for maybe the next 3, 4, 5 nights, which really is unheard of up here in the northwest Highlands of Scotland. Getting 2 clear nights in a row is generally quite amazing, never mind nearly a week of it, so I'm glad I'm off for the next few days. I'll have to finish up with work tomorrow night, and I'm off for 4 days, off the Friday, Monday and the weekend, so it means I could get a few late night shifts in the wee astro shed here. And after the Whirlpool tonight, I don't know really what to do after this. If I can get a couple hours tonight, I might even just do a good few hours tomorrow, and try and get a good load of data to get a really good image. I don't usually spend as much as 20 hours on one target because I'm so limited for time with such bad weather here. So it's quite unusual to get so much time on one target. So that should give me a really good image. And after that, I don't know what to do. If I should just go for another galaxy or do a nebula? I don't really know. Turn that heater off, it's actually getting really hot in here. It's starting to make me feel a bit sleepy with the heat. Let the place cool down a little bit and get some fresh air. Just always like to see the first exposure come in and see what it looks like. But it is 10:15 and I've not even taken my first exposure yet. It's easily about 9:30 before the sky's dark enough to do anything. I'll probably give it to the end of April and that'll be it. The sky's just going to be too light. Sort of 2 months either side of midsummer to do anything up here at this latitude. Up at just over 58 degrees. So yeah, I've got roughly 4 weeks left and I can pack up the scope for the summer basically. I'll take out the observatory and keep it in the shed here, and it means it's nice and safe when I'm working on the observatory. I've still got a wee bit of work to do. I started building it nearly 2 years ago, just at weekends and nights and whatnot. So it's getting there. I've got a bit of cladding still to do, and I've got the roof to fix properly and get it all sealed up nicely, and a little bit of just finishing off work to do after that. So that'll give me all the rest of this summer to completely finish it and get it ready for next winter's astral season. Not long, 20 seconds, we'll get the first image in. Maybe not lie on the keyboard also. Let's see what this looks like. Nice. Just for the red filter. Not too shabby. A lot of noise obviously with one exposure, but once they're all stacked it's not bad. The stars look quite round, even the big ones. All this amp glow on this camera's fine. It all comes out with dark frames. I've got my dark frame library, but I think I'm going to take more flats, and I'm quite sure that the green filter's shown up a couple of little dust motes that the flats aren't taking out. So I think I'll probably take more flat frames, and the darks are still fine. We're not going to process this one. Very nice though. First subframe, quite a lot of detail for 300 seconds. Yep, you can see nice sort of big dust lane there. You also see this other little galaxy in the top. Happy with the first one, that's really nice. So I say we'll just do red and blue tonight and get packed up, and yeah, that'll be getting me off to bed for midnight, the back of midnight. That'll be me for tonight. And yeah, and hopefully, yeah, do a good bit more tomorrow. I think if it's going to be clear skies, I might just go for the Whirlpool again. Maybe just do another full night on LRGB. And that'll take me up to sort of the long weekend, and I'll pick another target, I think. But it's all looking nice. I quite fancied doing the Cat's Eye Nebula. It's quite small. Planetary nebula, but it looks amazing. And I've seen some people's lovely pictures of it. Again, it'd be good to get a good bit of exposure time under dark skies. And apart from the moon getting bigger and bigger and getting higher and higher in the skies, and it goes on, unfortunately, we do have dark skies here. This has been a Bortle 1 where I live. Quite lucky to have such dark skies. Just unlucky to have such bad weather most of the time. Second exposure, HFR's reasonable, 4.81. That's nice, very nice. I do like the Whirlpool Galaxy. It's probably about maybe, I was going to say 4 years, maybe 3 years since I imaged this last. And I think I only took maybe a couple hours on it, and it turned out really nice. I mean, it's quite a bright galaxy, quite large. quite easy to image. But if I can get 20 plus hours on it, I'm going to end up with something really nice. Well, really nice, a lot of detail. So yes, not a lot else to be doing now. Everything seems to be running okay. So there's my setup. It's a Celestron CPC 800, which is a 4-carm, and it's on a Celestron HD Pro wedge, which is then bolted directly into my concrete pier inside my own homemade back garden observatory, my little wooden octagon shape. And I've got a roll-off roof, 2 half roofs that slide off opposite directions. It's a bit of a sort of different design. And yeah, I've got the ZWO 294mm Pro camera, and I'm using Bader 31mm LRGB filters in my ZWO filter wheel there. I've got a Pegasus Astro Focus Cube Zero for the autofocusing, and I'm using a Pegasus Astro Powerbox Advance. In fact, that's it just in there for all the power distribution, USB and dew heaters. And there's a little Melee Quieter 4, I think, on top. Wee Windows machine that's got all the programs running on it, and I'm just using remote desktop in the Astro Shed here to remote into that computer to control everything from here. And it's just Wi-Fi and everything over. I've got a little access point in the garden in between the observatory and the shed here, so I've got quite a good connection. Yeah, stars are looking nice and round. Good. I've also, if you can't see it, but I've also got the Celestron 0.63 focal reducer corrector in there as well. And yeah, that's pretty much my equipment. I've got Celestron off-axis guider, and there's the ZW174 mini guide camera. And as for dew control, I've got the Celestron dew ring on the corrector plate, and I'm also using just a small dew strap round about the focal reducer. You can see the dew point's getting quite close to the actual temperature now. 5.8 is the temperature outside, and the dew point is 4.546. So yeah, about a degree of difference. Whereas right about there, they were nearly touching. 5.864, yep, half a degree. Humidity is running at 91%. Not too bad tonight. Generally it's about 98, 99. Yeah, 97 at half 8. The little mountain plate up the top here, that's a homemade thing. I just bought some alloy plate from Amazon, and some risers and some nice hex screws and whatnot, some countersunk bolts, and it was cheap as chips really, and a tin of Hammerite spray paint, and I just cut all the plate to size and drilled it and rounded the edges and filed it, etc., and painted it all black, and assembled it, and it's all just sitting on a ADM, I think it's like the mini guide rail that I used to have my guide scope mounted to before I had an off-axis guider. So yeah, I just made all this myself, and so the Powerbox Advance is bolted onto the bottom plate, and the mini computer's bolted onto the top one. It sits there rock solid, and so it acts as a bit of a heat sink as well, because the computer gets quite hot, although the hot air's going up top. Generally it's not an issue here because it's so cold at nights. The heat just disappears off the thing, and it's good for the humidity because it's that hot that no water sits on it. It just evaporates off if any dew lands on it. And the wee Pegasus is protected by the top cover. And I've got a temperature sensor there. And the cable management's not too bad. It looks a bit messy there, but when you actually see it in daylight, it's pretty good. I've got some nice loops for the movement of the arms. But yeah, the only cable that actually sort of hangs from the scope is this one here, the 12 volt power supply going in. And I've got it on this extension, because before it just hung down the side, but when the mount turned, it was quite easily get snagged on the pier underneath. Not enough to pull the cable, but it would certainly drag it and it would throw the guide in a little bit. So I've just put this wee plastic bit of water pipe, rigid water pipe attached to the arm that comes out, and it just lets the cable hang a good way away from any obstruction really, and it can turn pretty much any direction, and the cable doesn't drag on anything. So yeah, a few velcro bits and pieces here and there to keep it all in place, keep everything nice and secure so there's nothing moving about. And I also try to get all my USB up one side of the scope and all my 12 volt power up the other side, just so I wasn't sort of mixing the 12 volt and USB together. But yeah, anyway, that is the sky there. Not much to see in the sky. It's not picking up the cameras. It's just quite a cheap CCTV camera, to be honest. It's not really picking up any stars. I'm not about to put the floodlights on it, because that really does illuminate everything up and you will see the sky, but I don't think it will do too good for the images, so we'll just leave the lights off the camera. Yeah. So anyway, fourth image is in. We'll soon be halfway through the red. Right, what I think I'll do now is I'll go outside and have a wee look at the sky. Just see how it actually looks. I made this mistake last night. It was forecast for a clear sky. I got everything set up in the wee shed here, curtains shut, so I couldn't actually see anything, and tried to do an autofocus and it was all over the place. Tried to do a plate solve, wouldn't plate solve. Went outside, not a star to be seen. It clouded over completely. It maybe cleared early hours in the morning, I don't know, but I sat up to about 11 o'clock and not a thing to see, so I just packed up for the night, even though the forecast was still showing clear skies. In fact, just looking out the window there, I can see a few stars, so yeah, it's looking really nice now so far. If it's going to be nice, clear skies over the next few days and I'm going to sit up all night, I'll maybe just do a live YouTube broadcast rather than just recording everything on OBS to edit it down to make a video. Satellite. And see if I can get any viewers and get a bit of interaction. And it's always good to be chatting away to people. It tends to keep me awake as well. Once I sit here for hours and hours myself in the shed. The last week when I was imaging this target, nearly every second image had a satellite going through it. It was just must be the bit of the sky. Some things I've imaged before and you get one or two, but it was just such a bad place for satellites going through. I need to get my wee all sky camera up and running as well. I think there's a problem with a USB cable, because it was working okay, but now the colours are all wrong and it doesn't seem to be downloading the images like it used to, and there's just something not right with it at all. So I'll need to look at that and try and get that up and running maybe for the weekend as well, because it's all set up, it's all fixed on the roof of the shed and whatnot, and it was working before, so I don't know what's happened to it. I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of banding coming through with images, and it's almost like the USB. I don't know. It's just a little ZWO. I think it's an ASI 120 MC colour camera, real cheap thing, but it's always worked okay before. And my little homemade enclosure for it. I'm convinced it's almost like a USB problem, but if I get a bit of time, I'll try messing about with different things there. Try and get that up and running and get some all-night footage with all-sky camera as well. And stick that on the end of one of my videos. Between main imaging camera, guide camera, I've got 3 CCTV cameras, one in the astro room here, one in the observatory that's obviously pointing towards the scope, and I've also got one on the outside of the shed here that actually points to the observatory. Not that there's a lot you can really see with that now, but just because when the roof's open you can't actually see inside, so you're really just seeing the outside of the observatory. But I can show you my little astro room now. That's my little setup there now. Not too bad. It started off really just this little corner I had. This actually used to be a little potting shed, just a little lean-to shed on the side of the house leading into the garden, and it was just benches and shelves and all the rest of it, and garden tools, and it's actually quite a horrendously dirty little horrible shed. And the plan was just to take up the corner of it, which I did a couple of seasons ago, and it still had all the benches up the back wall here and bits and pieces, and it was a bit of a mess and a real cold little place. But over the last summer, we've just stripped the whole place out, and I started cladding the walls with some plywood and whatnot, and got this little desk built, made it all myself, and got some shelving as you can see here, and on this wall there's some nice sort of steampunk style shelving. Doesn't really show up too much in this image. And I've got all my little astronomy ornament type things and whatnot. But yeah, it's much cosier after a few coats of paint and get some sort of personal things in. And this shelving unit really just holds all my telescope spares, and down here I've got a spare fork mount for the CPC. It's actually for my CPC 9.25, and my tripod, and then all the flight cases is all my different accessories and bits and pieces and whatnot. So yeah, it's quite a nice little shed to be in now. Quite warm with the wee radiator here beside me. And I've got my little tea kettle here, so a good endless supply of hot tea as well. Once these 4 frames are done, we'll get the camera warmed up and get everything shut down, and I can park the scope, get the roof closed over, and get ready to go, get off to bed for the night. But that's good, that's another 2 hours on it, getting a bit more colour as well. Tomorrow, going well, I'll do a bit more LRGB, so I'll do a bit more RGB, and then I'll concentrate again on the luminance just for the detail. And yeah, that should do M51 for this season. And over the weekend I can spend a little bit of time processing the image, get everything, all the frames stacked. In fact, I'm going to take more flat frames, new flat frames, and try and get rid of all the wee dust motes that are on the, I think it must be on the filter, because it's really just the green. I think luminance had a couple of little ones on it, and the green certainly had a few bits of dust, wee dust specks on it. At the end of the season I'll strip everything down and give all the filters a blowout and a clean, and they've been okay for the last couple of years, but I've not had anything apart until recently. I had to take the off-axis guider apart for some reason, I can't remember, and I think some dust obviously got into the filter wheel. Flats do take it out, but since I took my last flat frames I have moved the camera slightly, so I think that's why it's just not doing such a good job now. But that's okay, it'll not take long to take flat frames, and then I'll get it all processed. Get it all through AstroPixel processor and get everything stacked, and then to be honest I just do all my processing through app as well. It's all I've got. And I'm getting pretty good at just using it for processing as well as stacking. I quite like the program. It's quite simple, to be honest. And it gives you good results as well. So no pics in sight for me. I use AstroPixel processor for everything. And I quite like the gong as well. It's quite amusing. Yep, getting sleepy now. Nearly there though. Getting very close to getting to the 4s for HFR. 5.02. Second last subframe, an hour on red and an hour on blue. So that's pretty good going. And I try and get a whole load more done tomorrow. Give me a lot of data to play with over the weekend for something to process. Last subframe for tonight. Nearly there, and that's us for the night. Another 24 images in the bag. Right, let's warm the camera. It'll take the longest to do. And we'll do it for the closing down procedure now. Turn auto dew off. Turn the dew heaters off. Close that. Stop PhD. Disconnect all. Disconnect. Disconnect. Yep. What we need to do is save alignment and park the mount. Park in its previous place. We can watch it park in the mount, make sure it's going back to its usual place. I'll go and put the dust cover on it and shut the roof over, and then we'll get more things disconnected in here, powered off. And once the camera's warmed up, it's really time to just close it all down. Disconnect. We can close that. We can close still area. There we go. We can close the focus cube and everything's off. Right, that's fine. I'll go outside, put the dust cover on and shut the roof over. Right, that's me all but done. Just waiting for the camera to warm up. We're nearly there, and then we can shut everything down in Nina, get the lights off, and that is us for the night. All done. Nice wee view of the scope in its observatory. My wee red LEDs on the now. Hey Bramble, we're ready to go. Yes. Right, well on that I shall say good night, and I can shut down this video for tonight. Well, thanks for watching. 4th night on M51, the Whirlpool Galaxy, and all going well, we'll get back to it tomorrow night for a final night. Well, thanks for watching, and from me and from the 5 cats, good night.